I'll just start by saying I am so jealous of those of you that work in the schools every day because you're seeing the payoff for good reading. So I'm a parent sitting at the house and I'm thinking I should sit down with my kid and do some reading. What's the payoff going to be for my kid at school if he becomes a skillful reader?
He's going to have much more fun if he reads.
And, I would add he's going to be confident. And if kids come in and they have that confidence that they can do it, they're going to do it. You want your child to be confident and feel like they can accomplish anything. And they can do that through books.
Yeah, and I think it goes way beyond school. The things you're interested in, reading opens up chances to learn more. You wonder something, or you want to know, or you're interested in dragons, and then you satisfy that curiosity, just like you said. It's fun. You read to enjoy. You read to find out more about yourself.
Does becoming a skilled reader make me better at things besides reading?
Well, sure. Kids need to read to solve problems. Like the little story about the guys who had all these flat balls in PE and they needed to pump up their flat balls because they couldn't go play. So they wanted to go borrow the little device that pumps up the air. And so the PE teacher said, here are the directions. And they went, okay. So they got down there and they started reading the directions. Okay, now here's what you got to do. Okay, now you got that part right there. Okay, hold that. And so they had to read. And they pumped up their balls.
So I think sometimes in America especially maybe, we get too achievement oriented. And we do what I just did, which is like talk about the payoff of reading being good at something, right? But what about the value of reading to just enjoy the reading?
Well, you hear so many kids talk about how reading takes them places. I'm thinking about my son, and we read, and he's already thinking about dragons and being a knight and really getting into that, or being in space, and he's thinking about that, and I'll go be an astronaut, and the reading has taken him to these wonderful places that he's never been before, but in his imagination he gets to go there.
So how do I know when I'm reading at the house with my kid that my kid's having those imaginative thoughts?
When they say, oh, I didn't know that. Or when you say to your kid, did you know that?
Yeah, give them time. Pause and share what you're thinking. Because a lot of times I think kids don't realize that while we're reading, we're thinking and we're wondering and we're trying to figure out what comes next or why did they say that.
Well, too, what's fun is those tiny little books with the emergent readers. That I see the ball, turn the page. I see the baby, turn the page. I see the ad nauseum, and the kids are pretty excited about, oh, I can read I see the. Pretty soon you're driving around in the neighborhood and you say, Mom, look, there's the word ball from the I see the ball. Or look, I see the word see. And so even those real beginning basic books, I see the ball, can lead a lot of excitement for kids out in the community.
And they're small celebrations. Every time that they see a word and they learn, or every time they, read a new book and they learn something, it's such a celebration to them, and they get so excited about it.
One thing that really surprised me was the emphasis that our experts put on reading pictures. That really surprised me. Embarrassingly, as a parent of 2 children, I never emphasized that. Why is it so important to emphasize the reading of pictures?
We're using those pictures to get that information. Just like when you read to a child, they're getting all the information, even though they can't read those words. They may not know the letter sounds yet. Illustrations do the same thing. They supplement the information, and sometimes that's all you need.
And that's what they go to first. You pick up a book and you're drawn right away to the illustrations and the pictures. And that's the first thing, thinking of my son again, that he comments on. Whoa, why is that kid mad? What's happening here? And they don't need to worry about all that text and say, oh, I can't do that. No, they can.
That was
they're
so
looking
cool.
at the pictures.
That was so cool when we were looking at a page of text and the child started talking about the mailbox and then moved to that word that started with the M.
Yeah.
And I guess I understood at that point what we're talking about, that when we look at pictures, it does help us decode those words. So how does a parent encourage that?
I love for parents to have picture books, no text at all, just picture books, and the children will look at the pictures and create the story, and that story may change every time they read the picture book, but that's bringing something from them based on the picture to create that sense of story, and that to me, if we did nothing but picture books up until the time they come to school, well, I'd probably be happy.
I think that we call that a picture walk this week.
Well, and that's reading.
Sure is.
They're using the pictures and they're reading because they're getting something from it, and it's just so powerful.
And you mentioned the connection between reading and writing, and there it is right there. Telling your own story with a book, using what's there, that leads you to being able to create your own story and put it on paper.
And when you have that visual guide, the kids get this beginning, middle, end sense. And that's the sense of story that I'm talking about. That I think is just as important as actually decoding text and getting meaning from the text. The pictures are very powerful.
And you mentioned earlier, how can parents help? And that's really simple. Anybody can do that by just getting a book and just talking to them about the pictures. What do you notice? What do you see?
Even if you have no books in your house, and you look out the window and you say to your little guy, what do you think's happening with that squirrel right there? What do you think he's going to do? That conversation, getting that kid to talk, use words, use language, and hear other language, and just talk. That's another thing I would love to tell parents if I could, so I'm taking this opportunity. Thank you, Matt. Just get parents to have that conversation with your kid. What do you think's going to happen? Okay, we're cooking dinner. What do you think's going to happen next? What do you think we're going to make? What do you want to have for dinner tonight? What sounds good? Just a conversation.
That sounds like the storytelling emphasis that we've had. I've heard that phrase, storytelling, all week long. Yeah. So, boy, those print concepts. The print concepts, are those the rules of books and reading?
Sort of like when April was talking about understanding the structure of text. So in that way, it is the rules. It's kind of like the boundaries, but it's not rules in the way that it's something we don't want to break.
Right.
It's just understanding, what's the author going to have to do for me to be able to read? What am I going to have to do to be able to read?
What do we do as parents when our kids are too worried about the words and not as worried about the book? When what they want to learn are the words, and what we're wanting them to do is love reading. What do we do as parents to get our kids to love reading, even when, they want to work on the words?
Well, I liked Christine's suggestion earlier. There are a lot of books without text and without words, and just using pictures or just talking in general about pictures and starting there and really building that confidence, and saying, you're doing such a good job talking to me about this. I love to listen to you talk about this book. And
I agree with April, but if the kid is fixated or really concerned about that word and they're excited about learning those words, go with it.
Yeah.
If they're interested in it, spend some time with it and just go there. Let them struggle through the sounds and the letters, and let them make sense of that. If they're into that, Mom, I can read these words. I see the. Yay. If they're into that, go for it. Now here's the question. What if your child's nowhere? And no, I want to go outside and play, and no, but let's then the parent has to make it inviting. I encourage parents to actually read for their own pleasure in front of the kids.
Absolutely.
Dads especially. I don't know about this study that happened years ago, but dads have the most impact on their sons. If sons see their dads reading the newspaper, the magazine, whatever, then the kids understand that reading is pretty cool. So
Being that role model.
yeah.
And I think it also goes back to making it special and setting that special time. For us, it's before bedtime. And he knows, I'm going to get my story, I'm going to get 2 stories, and he's excited about it. And when kids see that you're excited about it and you want to read with them, then they get into it too.
Yeah.
Each of you guys get a billboard. We're driving towards successful reading, okay? Little signposts, one sentence. If you could give parents only one piece of advice about what to do this summer before their kids start kindergarten, when it comes to reading, what do you tell them to do?
share stories with them, and let them tell their own stories.
That's two things.
That's one sentence. You said one sentence.
All right. April, what do you tell the parents to do? Just one thing.
Gosh. Just really try to instill a love of reading. You know.
Let them tell stories. Instill
Yeah, I
love
mean,
of
it's really
reading.
hard because his answer was perfect.
Teamwork.
So we can just repeat
we're
it.
used
but,
to that.
But that's what you should do.
Ms. Smith,
Well, I
one
want to add to
thing.
Mr. Perfect. I think parents should engage in long, deep, meaningful conversations about anything.
Just about anything.
Anything. Especially if the kid's interested in something.
Soccer, pizza.
Sure.
Their interests.
Sure.
Get them talking.
Okay, so parents, they want to do all those things, but they're also worriers, and they hear about reading 3D and those assessments, the fluency assessment and the comprehension assessment.
I've got the answer for this.
What's the answer?
He always does.
Not always, but this one I do have. So, like April was saying, make that reading time special. And like we've all been saying, make reading about learning information, make it about enjoying stories. And we have professionals in every kindergarten class in the county who will take care of that stuff. They will teach your kid to read. They will get them where they need to be. You enjoy the stories, you enjoy the information.
Well, and all those, the testing, the assessment, that's just the small stuff. The big picture is getting them to enjoy reading and in those conversations. And all those little small pieces, they fall into place.
Sure they will. I like that. The testing.
Yeah.
It's just don't worry about it. It's just coming to school today. We'll assess to see where you are. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of reading 3D. That's our job. And the parents just talk to your kids. Tell stories.
Yeah.
Read stories. Let them see you reading. We'll take
And
care of
if
that.
they're worried, they just hide it from the kids. Let the kids have the fun with the reading.
Enjoy your time
Yeah.
with your children.
Oh, definitely.
I have certainly enjoyed my time with you guys. Thank you very much.